What up, it's your boy Nick Incredible, and this is my discussion slash review for The Killer 2024, which is a remake of John Woo's 1989 movie, The Killer, same title. Spoiler, John Woo directed this one as well. Let's talk about it.
Headed out for change, I just started on my quest. Yeah, the world will know my name, I'm excited, I'm obsessed. No one in my way but myself and a test. Yeah, I will be the best, yeah, I will be the best. Life is just a game, I'll be playing till I rest. I'll be there to claim my own spot among the best.
I came into this with fresh eyes. Now, I don't know anything about the original, but I know John Woo. You can't be a film buff if you don't know anything about John Woo. I've seen Hard Boiled, but I've never seen The Killers, and I think I may check it out after this because that'll give me a good comparison between the two and to kind of see how things transpired from the original to the retake slash remake, and I'm a little interested now. But like I said, I feel like the time could have been cut down. There was more flashbacks and stuff like that, and they talked about it, so they didn't really have to show a flashback, but because it's a John Woo film and it's directed by John Woo, the action was on point. But there was chemistry between the actors that I think worked as well, and I feel like that's because the actors brought that to the table, and I feel like that's also what made this retake or remake a little bit better in my opinion. Maybe had some other people played the characters, it probably wouldn't have worked as well, but because of people like Nathalie Emmanuel, Omar Sy, or Say, how you want to say it, Sam Worthington, and Diana Silvers, bringing that chemistry to the set, I feel like it worked. Now, Sam Worthington's character, he was a little up in the air for me. Like, some moments and some scenes he worked, and some others I didn't really care for his character. He was supposed to be like Irish or whatever, and sometime in that accent you kind of see it kind of flutter in and flutter out. I like Sam Worthington, I really do. Like, he was in the show, the Gladiator show where they Spartacus. I saw him in that, and then he's in Avatar. So like he has his moments, but sometimes Sam Worthington kind of flops a little bit. And there's a betrayal coming, and people that saw the original movie probably knows that betrayal is coming out of the woodwork. But like I said, coming into this with fresh eyes, I saw the betrayal, and it's Sam Worthington. So if you want something to happen, don't cast him as the guy, okay? But Diana Silvers, I kind of give it up to her, man. Like, she didn't have a lot going on with this role, but the moments that she was on screen, I was entranced with what she was doing, and I believed her character in certain circumstances and everything going on like that, with her being the girl named Jen. Omar Sy and Nathalie Emmanuel, I love the chemistry of those two characters. It was that whole, not so much as a relationship thing, but will they interact with each other? Were they constantly looking at each other, or what's going on? Like, when we first see them on screen together, there was that moment where they kind of looked at each other and they were kind of intrigued by each other. And then, I don't want to spoil it for you guys because I really want you to check it out for yourself, especially if you've seen the original. I really wouldn't know how does it compare in your eyes, but I feel like the chemistry between those two characters really sold this movie for me. The action was on point. The slow-mo, the birds, the overall complexity of the gun, like like when they shoot and how certain things happen and the blood splatters all over the place. Like, classic John Woo, man. Like, you could tell he directed this film and he wanted it to be, I'm assuming, as closest to the original as possible, but trying also to give his own modern unique spin on it, because the other came out in 89 and this is like 2024, so that's a big gap in between those two films. But like I said, you can see his cinematography all over this movie, and I think that also helped as well. And gotta give it up to Nathalie Emmanuel, man. Huge shout out to her because she really sold this, man. I loved her character, and you can kind of see that now, after certain things transpire in the movie, it's really starting to bother her a little bit. So when she tries to change herself a little bit, and with that, we get to see a complex version of her, and how it changed her at the same time. And I'm loving that because we're so used to seeing her as Ramsey in Fast and Furious, or, you know, the chick from Game of Thrones, you know, so seeing her in this lead role, we get to see her show off some of her chops, and I'm not mad at that, man. You know, she was in that Die Hard, but, you know, that was another comedy. This is an action serious movie, you know what I'm saying? So big ups to her on that, and her having that lead role, and she really sold it. I was there for the action 100%. Now, Omar Sy. I want to say Omar Sy, because Say is his name in the movie. But I met him, like, he all had a bunch of minor roles. I know he played, looking up his stuff, you know, he played Bishop in X-Men Future Past. He played in, I know he played in Jurassic World. He was Chris Pratt's friend or buddy or whatever. But I really saw his acting chops, for me, in a buddy cop movie. I can't remember the name of it, but the biggest thing I saw him in was Lupin from Netflix, and I love Lupin, man. Like, I was hooked from season 1, and season 2 and 3 just hit it out the park for me. I love his acting. He's a really good actor, so it's good to see him getting more roles. And sure, this movie was highlighting Nathalie Emmanuel, but Omar Sy really done his thing, man. He really stepped up to the plate. And those are our two main characters, but like I say, Sam Worthington and Diana Silvers had their moments as well. Sam is a little lackluster for me, especially with that Irish accent. But like I said, if you want someone to be so, how would you put it without spoiling anything? If you don't want your main characters, or whatever, one of your characters, to be exposed as someone that's going to betray someone, don't hire Sam Worthington, man. I mean, he's played that role a lot in his last couple of movies, or whatever he's been in, you know what I'm saying? So that was kind of typical for him. But huge shout out to the other three, and not to knock Sam Worthington, it's just this role wasn't it for him, in my opinion. But like I said, I enjoyed the movie. The action was on point. Classic John Woo. And I need to check out the original to give a more in-depth take on it. But just like I said, fresh eyes coming in. I love the action. The storytelling was good, in my opinion. But it's 2 hours long. So I feel like that could have been trimmed at least a good 30 minutes possibly, because a lot of flashbacks and a lot of this is what happened and this is how we got here, like, they mention it and then they dive into the flashback, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, either, well, what happened to you, and then show me the flashback. Don't give me a whole, well, they didn't give me a whole thing, but don't talk about something in particular and then show me a flashback about the same thing you kind of just talked about. You know what I'm saying? That's the only nitpick I had, because I feel like that could have shortened it down a little bit as well, because they extended that point and then that kind of drawn out the movie. And because like right there in the second act, I feel it got a little slow, in my opinion. Like the first beginning of the movie, like the first act, they kind of just thrust you into it. You really dive into it. Oh, okay, this is it. The second act, it started good and then kind of got a little muddy. And then the third act, just where they ended it out with all of the action. Now, we had action from the beginning in the first act, and then in the second act, it was more story driven. And that third act, they really cleaned up with like straight action, heavy gunshots, slow-mo, the birds, of course, you know, then all of these different camera angles, which is classic John Woo. The cinematography was on point. I loved it. Like I said, a decent movie, man. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, oh, well, it was just so bad. And it wasn't woke. So there's big ups on that. Although she's a star, you know, it wasn't a woke movie. And Nathalie Emmanuel played her part, and I enjoyed it wholeheartedly, man. I would definitely watch it again, and I would definitely recommend it to somebody. It's just one of those movies that, yeah, you know it's not going to be 100%. But you can sit down, watch it, and enjoy it, and then kind of have something to talk about at the end of, oh, okay, well, I did like that one action sequence that they had and this and that, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, the chemistry between the characters really sold the movie more so than anything, but the action in that third act really helped, in my opinion. This is what incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button so you can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them, and subscribe. Peace out.
Cause I've been working a lot, I think I deserve a shot, I think I deserve a spot. Cause it's been years on this path that I walked, and if I keep going, I pray I'll be at the top.